My name is Diana Matthews, and I'm going to tell you about the night that changed everything. I was 32 when I married Marcus. We dated for 3 years, and I thought I knew him, really knew him. He was gentle, funny, the kind of man who remembered small things, like how I took my coffee, or that I loved yellow roses. Our wedding was beautiful. My mother cried. His mother, Patricia, sat in the front row wearing cream silk, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. She'd always been particular, but I told myself we'd grow closer. That's what family does, right? The reception ended around 11. We drove to Marcus's family home, a large colonial where we'd stay before our honeymoon. Patricia insisted. She said it was tradition. Her parents had done the same. I should have questioned it then. We arrived tired but happy. Patricia showed me to our room, her smile tight at the corners. "Sleep well, dear," she said, lingering in the doorway. Something in her eyes made me uncomfortable, but I brushed it off, Marcus, and I got ready for bed. I wore the nightgown my sister had given me, pale blue with delicate lace. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed and pulled off his shoes. "I'm exhausted," he said, rubbing his face. "Me too," I said, sitting beside him. "But we made it. We're married." He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Diana, I need to tell you something." My heart stuttered. "Okay, I'm really tired. Can we just sleep tonight?" I felt relief mixed with disappointment. "Of course. It's been a long day." He kissed my forehead, and we turned off the lights, but I couldn't sleep. The house was old, full of creaks and sighs. Around midnight, I heard something. Low sounds, rhythmic, coming through the wall. Moaning, my stomach dropped. The sounds were coming from Patricia's room, right next to ours. I lay frozen, listening. They continued. Soft at first, then louder. Unmistakable beside me. Marcus was perfectly still. Too still, not breathing like someone asleep. "Marcus," I whispered. He didn't answer. I sat up and turned on the lamp. He was lying there, eyes closed, but his jaw was clenched. His hands were fists. "Marcus, do you hear that?" He opened his eyes slowly. "It's nothing. Go back to sleep." "Nothing? Your mother is, she has someone over. It happens. Just ignore it." The casualness in his voice chilled me. You knew this would happen, and you brought me here." He sat up, running his hands through his hair. "Diana, please. Not tonight. Then when?" "When were you planning to tell me your mother entertains men while we're in the next room on our wedding night?" "It's complicated, then uncomplicated." He looked at me finally, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Shame. Deep, bone-tired shame. "She's lonely," he said quietly. "Since Dad died, she's been looking for connection. I didn't think she'd do it tonight." "I'm sorry." I stared at him. "You're sorry?" "Marcus, this isn't normal." "None of this is normal, I know." His voice cracked. "I know it's not. But she's my mother. What am I supposed to do?" The sounds continued. I got out of bed, grabbed my robe, and left the room. I walked downstairs to the kitchen. The moon cast silver light through the windows. I made tea with shaking hands. That's when I saw the photographs. They covered the refrigerator, held by magnets. Pictures of Marcus and Patricia. Marcus as a baby in her arms. Marcus at 10, her hand on his shoulder. Marcus at his college graduation, her kissing his cheek. No pictures of Marcus's father. None. I heard footsteps. Patricia came down, wearing a silk robe, her hair slightly messed. She stopped when she saw me. "Diana, you're awake." "I couldn't sleep," I said evenly. She poured herself water, her movements deliberate. "Wedding nights can be overwhelming. Is he still here?" I asked. "Your guest?" Her hand paused on the glass. "He left through the side door." We stood in silence. The refrigerator hummed. "You think I'm terrible," she said finally. "I think you made a choice." On my wedding night, she turned to face me. In the moonlight, she looked older, tired. "Do you know what it's like to lose your husband? To wake up every day in an empty bed?" "No," I said. "But I know what it's like to be disrespected." Her eyes flashed. "Disrespected? I gave you my son. I raised him to be a good man. Don't talk to me about respect. A good man wouldn't let his mother do this." She stepped closer. "Marcus understands. He's always understood. That's what makes him mine." The possessiveness in her voice made my skin crawl. "He's not yours," I said quietly. "Not anymore. He's my husband." She smiled, cold and knowing. "We'll see." I went back upstairs. Marcus was sitting on the bed, waiting. "We're leaving," I said. "Now, Diana, now, Marcus, or I'm leaving without you." He looked at me, then at the wall separating us from his mother's room. For a terrible moment, I thought he'd choose her. Then he stood up. Okay, let's go. We packed in silence and left before dawn. We spent our wedding night in a hotel near the airport. In the morning, Marcus cried. Really cried. He told me everything. How his mother had leaned on him since his father's death when he was 12. How she'd made him feel responsible for her happiness. How she'd sabotaged his previous relationships. How he'd been too afraid to stand up to her. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I held him. Not because I'd forgiven him completely, but because I saw his pain. Real, raw pain. We need therapy, I said. Both of us, together and separately. Yes, he agreed immediately. Whatever it takes. It took time. Months of hard conversations. Setting boundaries with Patricia was like negotiating with someone who didn't believe in boundaries. But Marcus learned. Slowly, painfully. He learned to say no. Patricia fought it. She cried, accused, manipulated. But something had shifted in Marcus that night. He'd made his choice. 1 year later, we renewed our vows. Small ceremony, just close friends. Patricia wasn't invited. Marcus called her beforehand. I love you, MOM, he said. But Diana is my wife. My priority. If you can't respect that, we need distance. I heard her crying through the phone. Part of me felt sad, but a bigger part felt free. Some people asked if I'd gotten revenge, if I'd made Patricia pay for humiliating me. But here's what I learned. The best revenge isn't hurting someone back. It's building a life so good, so full, that their toxicity can't touch it. Marcus and I have been married for 8 years now. We have 2 children. Patricia sees them supervised, and she's been civil. Not warm, but civil. Marcus still has hard days. Days when the guilt creeps in, whispering that he's abandoned his mother. On those days, I remind him. Love doesn't mean losing yourself. That wedding night taught me something important. Sometimes betrayal comes dressed as family, as obligation, as tradition. But real love protects. It chooses. It stands firm even when the ground shakes. I learned that kindness doesn't mean accepting disrespect. That forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. That sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from someone who refuses to see your worth. My marriage isn't perfect, but it's ours. Built on honesty, painful growth, and the choice we make every day to choose each other. That's the real story. Not the scandal of that night, but what came after. The slow, difficult work of building something real from broken pieces. And that, I think, is worth more than any perfect wedding night could ever be.